All right guys, welcome back to another episode of The Build. My name is Cody Groom. Today we have this S2000. We're in the gorgeous city of Huntington Beach, known for the US Open. Who doesn't love a small car with a high revving engine? Well, with this S2000, it's a molded wide body. Something I've always wanted to do in a car, and it's cool to see it on this one in particular. My name's Cody Groom. I spend my time showing you guys amazing cars and the stories behind them.
Damn!
It's about the people, places, and of course, cars. Welcome to The Build.
S2000s, dude, it's a dime a dozen on who you talk to. Some people go all out, point in case. Some people just use them as a stepping stones for something greater. I find that the S2000 has all characteristics that I personally was looking for. At the time, I was looking for something that was two-seater, two-door, convertible or not, and something with a high revving engine. Perfect, 9,000 RPM in this bad boy and you can get it ripping. My parents and uncle were super muscle heads. You know, they used to go to the drag strip a lot. You know, they used to swap Corvettes, they used to swap Camaros, you know, big LS engines with nitro systems and superchargers. So that kind of sparked my interest, wanting to modify a car. Originally, muscle cars, I found a passion with the older versions of them. Those are hard to find, and they still are, but the ones you could find were rusted and needed a lot of attention and work. I was looking for a car that I can modify, daily drivable, and that's pretty much fit the budget. I started visiting overseas in Japan and, you know, in China, Asia pretty much. This car was inspired by a lot of track vehicles in Japan, mainly the Arvu shop car, which is pretty much almost a one-off replica of what I have here, but I've chosen a different route.
Dan wanted to take a different route with his car. Even though the inspiration was the Arvu car, he really wanted to have a molded wide body and have a complete cohesive theme to the whole car.
Yeah, so at the front, it's a Voltex Racing Japan front bumper, dual stacked canards. And typically on a standard Voltex Racing front bumper, you would have these inlet brake ducts at the front of the car. But what I wanted to do is pay homage to the Arvu racing car in Japan. And what they've done is they created block off plates for it, just so they could stack the double canards on it. So I took inspiration from that and created my own piece out of carbon fiber, and then just laid that over and molded it into the front bumper just so it could have a more seamless design to it. And for the lip, it's also a Voltex Racing race version lip, which they also sell. And moving on up is the Car Garage Amis hood, which was my latest installation for the car. It is the first one here in North America, and it is signed by the owner, Matsuda-san. Fenders, we have Jay's Racing front fenders, which have been extended 30 mil just to accommodate the wider wheels. And speaking of the wheels, we have Advent Racing Japan Advent GTs, which are 18 by 10.5 plus 24. And behind that, we have our sponsored brakes from APG Performance, which are 6-pot brakes with a 330 millimeter rotor. For the side skirts, we have the Car Garage Amis dry carbon side skirts, which I've clear coated for longevity purposes. Also, they are the widest side skirts that I could find that'll accommodate the wider rear over fender. At the top here, we have a Forbidden USA Mugen style double-sided carbon fiber hardtop from the guys out in Long Beach. And moving on backwards here, we have probably my most prized possession is the Car Garage Amis S2000 rear over fender kit. This kit is again the only kit here in North America. I've actually visited Osaka, Japan and the owner Matsuda-san about 2 or 3 years ago. So it's a pretty awesome experience of having the kit here, having his support obviously. Moving on backwards, we have Car Garage Amis rear bumper again with a molded over fender or rear end plate, you could say. Usually this plate will be attached via rivets. Again, keeping with the molded theme that you see here, I wanted to mold it in and extend this line here just so they can match the flow of the tail lights, which are Car Shop Glow tail lights from Japan and Tokyo. Some great guys out there. I've been rocking their stuff since version 1 came out for the S2000. And this is version 3. Moving on down again, we have Voltex Racing rear diffuser, which has been modified to accommodate the wider stance of the rear bumper. So the rear bumper extends everything and the over fenders about 60 mils. So I needed to extend this out about 5 inches to accommodate that, or else it would have just looked shrunken in and wouldn't have gone with the theme. Moving on up, we have our 3C Lab duckbill, which if I'm correct is only 5 in creation at all. Coming out of Australia, some guy named Ben Wong, who's actually a great friend of mine now. At the time I was building my car, this piece was unavailable to me. He made it possible that I could see it through. So that's out of Australia. The wing here is a SAR Japan carbon wing, which is a custom width for me. It's 1850 millimeters. Which is pretty aggressive and pretty wide. But if you see the car all together as one, it kind of uniformly comes together. For the exhaust side of things, we have our 3-inch Origin fabrication titanium exhaust, which is another piece that I was heavily involved in obtaining. It's one of the best exhausts out for the S2000 in my opinion. Previously, I had the Jay's Racing one. No knock to anybody with Jay's Racing, but the Origin fabrication one is the quality and fabrication to it is second to none. It's one of the best exhausts for sure for the S2000, and that's pretty much it, I think.
The interior for this build is absolutely clean and simple. It's straight to the point. There's a lot of functional stuff, but the reality of it is he's got this kind of red undertones with a lot of carbon fiber pieces, simplified, but keeping that still like clean aesthetic that you would expect from an OEM car. And it's pretty damn cool to see that here.
We go ahead and pop the hood?
The hood is a little dirty actually. So I don't know if we can pop the hood today. Maybe next time we can pop the hood.
Unfortunately, we didn't get a chance to show the engine bay here. I know you guys are like, what? Where's the engine? The reality of it is Dan just had a new hood put on, and that hood restricts one of his intake pieces from fitting. So because of that, he didn't want to show the engine bay in the current state, but I'm sure you guys can tell from these pictures that this engine bay is super clean, dialed in, and just what you'd expect the engine bay to look like on a build like this.
For me, I feel like modifying a car is a way of expressing yourself, and it's a way of just doing something out of your comfort zone, in my opinion. Bringing out, extracting a lot of ideas that you probably wouldn't have if you weren't building a car. And I feel like this is a form of my type of art instead of actually painting or drawing or doing something else. So seeing the end result, you get that sort of satisfaction that I can't really explain. I've never would have imagined myself building this car as it is now. It's just something that I can't see myself without. Spent a lot of time and money on it. blood, sweat, and tears that, you know, seeing my life without the car would probably, you know, take a lot out of me. This car has brought a lot in my life that I can't really take it back and can't take it for granted. And that's why I take care of it so much. That's why it's the way it is.